I, 21F, cheated on 26M almost 2 years ago, and I never told him.
I was working out of town for a few months. I was depressed because we had gone through an abortion 2 months prior. I felt like we were disconnecting. The physical distance made it worse. I got on anti-anxiety meds. I went through the whole summer feeling very close to a coworker but never thinking anything would happen. Then the other coworkers made jokes about. They encouraged it. It happened. It happened again and again for almost 2 weeks before I went back home. I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm trying to explain my frame of mind when I made the worst, most awful decision of my life. It was horrid. It's been 2 years and I think about it every day. Every single fucking day. I never told him because I'm a bitch. I thought I could silently endure it. I'm starting to break and my anxiety over it is getting worse instead of better. I want to marry this man. Our lives are intertwined so deeply and I feel like our souls are intertwined as well. But I cheated. I fucked this guy because I was sad and lonely. I fucked it up so bad. I fucked up. I've only ever spoken openly about this with my mom. She doesn't think it's a good idea to tell him. She thinks at this point it's too late and it'll just ruin the relationship. I don't know. She is right. It's 2 years too late. It would only serve to ruin the relationship. But how am I supposed to look this man in the eye at one point and say I do when he doesn't even know how badly I have wronged him? TLDR. I did the unforgivable and never came clean. What do I do? Story 2. I was cheated on 2 years ago and I still can't get over it. What do I do? Before anything else, thank you for taking the time to read this. It really means a lot. TLDR. My girlfriend cheated on me 2 years ago and I still can't get over it. I don't know what to do because I've been to therapy and tried countless things and nothing works. So I've M22 been dating my girlfriend F22 for over 2 years now and I still get haunted by something that happened almost at the beginning of the relationship. But especially now that some recent events have happened. When we first started dating like 5 years ago, she had a crush on this guy at college that kinda liked her back. He was the most stereotypical fuckboy ever. At the time, it had been a relative short time since we had broken up with our respective ex-couples around 8 months or so I really wasn't planning on going out with her in my case. Out of respect for my ex. Even though I liked her so much. However, we started going out and we got along so well and shared a lot of things in common. She slept at my apartment watching movies and we spent whole days together. Even though we never even flirted with each other or anything. It was just a very close friends relationship. One day we had some drinks and ended up kissing. For me, this was a huge deal since I had only ever kissed my only ex-girlfriend before. We both agreed that it'd be nice to try and start a relationship. Some days passed and we were talking about loyalty, respect and so on, when she confessed to me that she had just kissed on a club with this guy, but reassured me that it was something she regretted as she actually wanted to be with me. I really didn't even care that much cause at that point. We hadn't even discussed anything yet. Also, I was never a jealous guy. My ex had cheated on me before and I just appreciated her honesty and told her not to worry about it. But I did let her know that I thought this guy along with all of his douche friends were just looking for the opportunity to get laid. Some months passed and we officially started out relationship. Everything was going perfectly. Until one night. She went out with these guys to a club and you can imagine what happened next. She came crying to my apartment saying she had screwed up and that she had kissed with him on his apartment in the after party. When I listened to this, it felt like a punch straight to my guts. I had never experienced that feeling before. I felt so stupid and dumb. I told her I couldn't go over that and that I wanted to break up. She convinced me otherwise and promised to never do it again and did a lot of cute things for me. 2 weeks later, I had completely gone through it. I didn't even care anymore about that guy and I even joked about it. However, a few months later, she kind of accidentally confessed to me that they hadn't only kissed, but actually even got in bed with him. You can imagine how that felt like. Since then, she has been the sweetest girl on the planet and honestly changed a lot positively. But I still can't get over it. Sometimes a couple months go by and it seems like I don't even care anymore. But anytime I hear his name, see someone that looks like him or hear about someone being cheated on, it really feels like shit. It was a big deal for her as well, as she went to the psychologist for months to solve this. The last time I brought that up because I felt very bad. She started crying and asked me to please try and get over it as she had done. She encouraged me to go to the psychologist too and told me she'd be there for me to solve this together. I started going to the psychologist and honestly, it's been 3 months and I thought I had finally gotten over it. However, I just learnt that my best friends that live in my hometown, hundreds of miles away who are currently studying abroad in France. Coincidentally just met this guy there and have been hanging out with him. They had never met him before. When they sent over a picture, I felt the same dense punch to the gut that I felt that day. I'll be visiting them on December and I'm feeling really anxious about it. I'm very afraid of telling this to my girlfriend as this topic really gets her arguably more than me, but I really don't think I'll be overcoming this anymore. I feel like this would haunt me for life. I don't know what to do anymore, since I really think she's a great girl and really enjoy my time with her. Story 3. Found out my husband cheated on me 2 years ago. I 27F found out my husband 27 meters was cheating on me 2 years ago while I was pregnant with our daughter. We recently had our second child 5-month-old F, and this time around we were not getting along. I went through his phone because I felt like something was going on. I ended up finding 2 girls' names on his Snapchat, but the messages had already been viewed. One of the messages was from 2 weeks prior and the other was from 2 months prior. We got in a huge argument and he claimed he never messaged them and doesn't know who they are. For obvious reasons I didn't believe him and demanded that he log into Snapchat on a computer so I can see everything. When he logged in I couldn't find any of the conversation between him and the 2 girls because his messages are set to automatically delete. I did however see hundreds of messages that span over 8 months to a completely different girl. The messages were a daily thing for over 8 months, however sections of the conversation were not saved. The messages started before I got pregnant and stopped 2 months before I gave birth when I started having complications. The day we found out the gender he was messaging her. At one point we tried a new restaurant because his friend recommended it. The friend was the girl. I contacted the girl and she told me they had slept together once a while ago around 2014 or 2015 before I met my now husband and haven't met in person since. She also confirmed that they hadn't spoken since 2019 when the messages stopped. He never mentioned he had a wife or a baby on the way and the messages were flirty/sexting. Unfortunately, this isn't the first time he's cheated. He cheated one time prior in 2017 that I'm aware of, and at the time it was a very out of character thing for him to do. I forgave him because I believed it was a one-time mistake and I thought we worked past it. We started going to couples counseling immediately after finding out about his second indiscretion. This is our second time going to couples counseling. Even though both cheating incidents occurred before our first time in couples counseling 2020, he never brought up the second incident in counseling. I feel like all of the progress we made after initially going to counseling was a lie and the trust is gone. I don't know if counseling can help this time around since he wasn't open and honest the first time. My anxiety is through the roof. I'm not getting sleep and I'm constantly suspicious that he is still cheating. To make matters even worse, I lost my grandmother 2 weeks ago and I don't think I'm handling any of this well. I was and still am seeing a therapist for postpartum anxiety and I was actually making progress before all of this. Now, I think I've started having panic attacks when he gets home from work. My chest feels tight and it feels hard to breathe. When he leaves for work, it's the only time I don't feel extremely tense. Random information. I also found his Reddit account and basically every comment/post was something sexual except for one that stood out, and to paraphrase it said, "I wish I could cheat on my wife but it's just too hard to do." I mentioned this to him and he said it's supposed to be anonymous. I never thought you would see it. As dumb as it sounds, I don't want to give up on our relationship. I do love him and he claims he really wants to fix things. I also really don't want my kids to have to grow up in separate households, and the idea of having to be away from them adds to my anxiety. I don't want to be the reason my family falls apart. I just don't see how we can make it work. I don't believe anything he says. I don't want to be intimate with him and I think he's going to cheat again because of it. Is it even possible for a relationship to work after repeated infidelity? TLDR. Found out my husband cheated on me 2 years ago while I was pregnant. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy my video, please subscribe and leave like.